Okay, let's go over the EditShare Ingest system. This is going to be a little bit different if you're a rookie using rookie cameras than if you're using the red Panasonic 4K cameras because they write to different file types. So what we're going to do on ingest for these rookie cameras is format the file into a new MP4, which combines the audio and the video into a single file and makes things much easier for you to use, and also makes the file more efficient and smaller for storage. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go and open up Flow Browse. Now, if you open up in Finder and Applications, you will see Flow Browse in your list of programs. You can also find it in the toolbar at the bottom, but not always. Sometimes it gets taken off. You put in your login, and here we have Flow Browse. So Flow Browse is what you use to search and find footage, and also to ingest footage. So let's take a look at the Flow Browse window a little bit here and talk about what the different parts are. The first thing we can talk about is moving things around a little bit. So if we right click on this gray part of the window, we'll see a bunch of different options. The most important ones are Reset Layout and Lock Dockable Windows. If we click on Lock Dockable Windows, it takes the frame away and it allows us just to kind of move things around without actually moving things within the frame. If we unlock that, we can now take this and move our window around so it's larger and easier to work with. I'm going to move this template into Program so you can see some more information here, but that's what it looks like. Those are the metadata areas of Flow Browse. So as a template we have set up, and I'm going to reset my layout, and it should reset everything. There's this little weird space. It's kind of a bug here that shows up above everything, but if you close down Flow Browse and open it up again, that disappears. So I think it's just kind of a bug they have, but it's not a big deal. It just kind of takes away some of your usable space. All right, you have a window for video files, so we're going to select a video file from, let's say, Inside Alchemist Athletics, which is one of our sports shows. We can just click any kind of file in here. You'll see we have a video window in here, and if we scrub through the footage or hit play, we can actually watch this footage within this window. All right. Also within this window is the Browse and File Ingest icons. This is another feature which we don't have, and this is just settings, which you shouldn't have to deal with too much. What you see, you'll also have audio here, so we'll play some audio. You'll see the audio moving. Next thing we'll talk about is the different tabs. We have the Device tab, we have a Local tab, we have a Projects tab. If we pull this out a little bit, we'll also have a Search tab. This is what you would use to find a program. So if I say IOA 20, I don't know if we have IOA 24, 23, 22, I think is what the latest one that we've done. So it's going to bring up directly IOA 22. If I just keep going down until I find that file, there it is. There's IOA 22. I can double click on it and it's going to show up in this window. Alright, you can also see some of the data has been laid out. You'll see that the audio was done by Ben. Camera operator was Nikolai Jablonski, and on down the line. So I'm going to reset that. So now our window is reset. Just going to kind of scrub through that so you can see what that looks like. Alright. You can also change the layout of how those clips show up in the lower window there. Alright, so let's go back to, we also have an advanced search here. So let's go back to media spaces. So everybody's media space and all the available media spaces are shown in this tab. So if you wanted to go to somebody's footage, you can go directly to their footage in their media space. Or if you want to go see a Meridian News Now, you'd go to the Meridian News Now folder. So these are all of Deja's clips here within her media space. These are all of interviews that we've done within the interview media space. Alright, I'm going to reset that again. Alright, so now next thing we're going to look at is your devices. So you're going to have two of your media cards that you've plugged in. That's what they look like on the desktop and within Finder. So back to Flow Browse. Next thing we're going to do is go to Devices. So now you see those two P2 cards available there. If I click on that one, it shows what's in that one. And if I click on that one, it shows the clips that are in that one. Next thing we'll do is we'll click on one, and we're going to bring it up and be able to scrub through the footage. So you can see what footage you have in here just by scrubbing through it. Next thing we're going to do is type in some metadata tagging. Now, this is the fun part. We're going to use a template, and you have a number of templates here. You'll most likely use HOMTV Story or HOMTV Program for metadata tagging for now. HOMTV Story will give you a template with certain features in here that you're going to want to use to type in data. We're going to type in air date, comes up automatically. If you're the camera person, put in the camera person as your name. So we're just going to call this one Deja Green, because we'll say she shot her own story. If you have the air date or what day you've submitted it, you can type that in there. If you're the editor, put in your editor tag. If you're the reporter, put in the reporter field. If you know what the program is going to be, what the footage of the program is going to be aired in, put that in there as well. Really important here is the location. If you were say at Lansing Center, put in the Lansing Center. If you were in Okemos, at the control room. As much data as you can put in there that you think would be useful in searching it later, I would put in. The next one would be story slug, so type in whatever story slug you would use. So if it's your story was on EditShare Demo, type in EditShare Demo. Now you could use format in here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. It's not that important. So now we're going to reset our media space so everything kind of looks clean again. But this is how we do an ingest. So let's move over to the ingest button here. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to bring up a different window here. So below we see the EditShare metadatas. Everything down there is all the metadata you just typed in for that clip. Get the bottom of this window, because at the bottom of this window is your settings, and I'm not sure why they put it down here. It kind of gets cut off sometimes, but we're going to go down to settings. This is where it's going to save to when we do our transcoding. Alright, so now you're going to look, if your name was Deja Green, you would be putting this into Deja Green's folder. We'll click on that, and now we're going to get even further down by clicking on this folder, and we're in Deja Green. What we're going to do is make a folder. We're going to call it EditShare. So now what we want to do is click on Make Folder, and it's going to make a folder for us there, and it's going to highlight it for us. So that's what we're wanting. We're going to click that, and now we should be good. We can double click it again, or click on it again just to double check, and we should be fine. Chunking, don't worry about, it's not important. Now what we can do is click Add to the Queue, and we're going to see this file pop up into the Queue tab over on the right hand side. So this is where it's going to do its transcoding. So I'm going to reset our layout again. Sometimes it loses that queue window. I'm going to go back and click like that again, and it'll pop up again. So now what we're going to do is click on these last files here. We're just going to drag them over into the queue window. And that's actually going to write all of that information that you typed in already into those files. And since these files we're going to say are also part of that, all that information, we're going to drag those across too and drop those in there as well. So now all those files would get written with that metadata that we've placed in there. If you've got different footage for a different thing, you would want to do them separately and type in different metadata for both of those. But since we're going to call all this footage the same stuff, it will just automatically write all those in there. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the render engine here, which there's two channels of that. We have both of them open right now. What we're going to do is we're going to hit record. This is going to start the process. So now you're going to see all of these start to transcode format into MP4. Now, depending on how many clips you have, this might take a while. It might not, but it should go pretty fast. This is actually transcoding on the server itself and not on your computer, so it really shouldn't slow down any other processes you're working on. So now this process is all wrapped up. We can go over to Media Browse. We're going to look into Deja Green's folder here. We're going to pop up all of her files. If we go down and search for one of those files, we should be able to find them in one of her folders here. So yep, looks like that's one right there. So I could double click on that and I could play that. And we know it has been ingested and converted. So now we're done with Flow Browse for that because we've done our transcoding, everything, and it's all set. So now we can quit Flow Browse. And you can also eject your two P2 cards. In order to use this footage now, we have to open EditShare Connect, type in your login, so say you were Deja Green. Deja Green would open up her EditShare Connect. She would go to her media space, make sure it was mounted under EFS. Okay. So now her media space is open. We can go and we could start our project and then go to the footage that we just ingested, which is down here at the bottom, I guess. And we could drag that footage in to a Adobe Premiere project. So there you have it. That is how you do a ingest for the P2 cards.